Tool number one, focus on your goals. What are your priorities? So prioritize your life, prioritize your values, prioritize your principles. So focus on your ambitions, your passions. Okay, what makes you smile? What makes you laugh? What makes you really feel like getting up out of bed and going after what you want in life? Focus on what it's going to take in order for you to thrive past codependent narcissistic relationships. Tool number two, build your support base. Navigate it like a boss. You get to decide who and what consists of your support base. It's a good idea to expect support. You don't have to go around thinking you're never going to get support. See, narcissists want you to think that your life is just hopeless. You're hopeless. You don't count. No, expect support. Expect to be treated well. The narcissist has already shown you that he or she doesn't have the capacity to treat you well. Okay? They don't support you. So don't think that this is going to always be your life. Okay? So I feel compassion for people when they tell me that, hey, I don't know if I can do such and such. Well, especially when I know they have a cluster B personality type in their life. As you thrive forward past codependent narcissistic relationships, expect to be supported in your efforts to do so. Tool number three, take time out to restore your health, your mind, restore your overall well-being. You've gone through something. Codependent narcissistic relationships are designed to destroy, to damage your overall well-being. Your health is compromised every time you're in a relationship. Well, because of a personality type, such as a narcissist. Take some time out for yourself. You're going to need it. You need a safe environment to express what you have gone through. Sometimes we give anger a bad rap. You got to go ahead and tap into that anger. The anger is only an expression of an injustice. That's all it is. Sometimes people misuse their anger. I get it. But because you've gone through this ordeal called a codependent narcissistic relationship, you have to express what you've gone through. Don't suppress your anger, because suppressing your anger will cause health problems. It will even cause you other relationships. It will cost you good relationships. That's what you want, right? Positive relationships. Take time out to restore your spirit, your mind, your overall well-being. Okay? It's worth it. Invest in yourself for a change. Some of you are already aware that Nature Boy is locked up right now in DeKalb County, Georgia, for a range of charges from local to state to federal. He's waiting right now for a new date to stand in front of the judge. That to me sounds like it's not looking too good for Nature Boy, or aka Eligio Lee Bishop. Okay, so it's not looking too good for him for a lot of reasons. But there are a lot of cult members right now, right? From Carbonnation, who are coming out right now. I think this is good. They're starting to speak up. They're speaking out. And it's not just the females either. Okay, there are people who are coming out. They're sharing their testimonies, and I saw a few videos recently on Nature Boy, and he was being interviewed by, I think it was on Sonetta TV. Okay, that particular video, I have the link in the description box below if you guys want to check it out. But I saw that video and I was like, it just turned my stomach. Just some of the things that he was saying, some of the things that Nature Boy was doing. It was just really, it was a freak show. Okay, it was a lot of buffoonery going on there. I'll just leave it at that. Y'all can check out that video if you want. Some of you are already familiar with which video I'm talking about. You already seen the interview. I think that there have been several social media personalities or platforms that have interviewed Nature Boy, right? But it looks like he loved the attention. That's one of the things that I noticed about Nature Boy. He seems to love the attention. I think this is why he has the cameras rolling almost all the time, because he wants to see, okay, how many people are going to embrace his philosophy of life and perhaps follow him and become members. But there are a lot of members right now who are coming out in droves, and they are giving their testimony. Some of them are speaking STDs. Some of them are talking about HIV. Some of them are talking about how this B6 diet that didn't seem to help them too much with their health, but instead it seemed to perhaps be influencing them to turn for the worse. Not getting the proper health care, some of the women who are pregnant and how they were treated. I think this is great that a lot of people are coming out with this. They're talking about it. This is something that I think we need to be aware of, because when you look at the personality types of cult leaders, a lot of times we can see a trend, we can see a pattern, right? And usually it's because all of them have a dark personality. They seem to have this fixation, this obsession to have a huge flock or following. Okay, this is something that perhaps some of you have seen in Nature Boy. I know I have. I've noticed that he just seems to want the attention almost all the time. There are a few cult members, ex-cult members, who have gotten out, and they have reported, okay, not them, but it has been reported that they have returned to carbonnation. This is sad. There's one lady in particular, I think I'm going to pronounce her name, I hope I do, it's Melina, I believe. And she has recently returned. It's been reported that she has returned to carbonnation. She attempted to escape, and it's reported that she got a beat down. I'll put it like that, for escaping as retaliation, right? But it is very often that when people attempt to leave these groups, these cults, that they will experience retaliation once they go back, or if they should get caught and taken back. Okay, so the thing about taking or confiscating their identifications, I think this is something that a.k.a. Eligio Bishop, Nature Boy, okay, right? I think this was a strategy to control the cult members should they want to leave. Just think about it. How many places can you go and you don't need some sort of identification? Most of the places we go to now, we're going to need some sort of identification. Okay, so when we are going from place to place without identification, it's going to limit how far we can move, how far we can go. And I think that's a strategy that Nature Boy had, just in case somebody wanted to get out or they tried to leave carbonation, right? So this is what, to my understanding, this is what happened. When Melina left, I think it's Melinda or Melina, but when she left, she was asking for her identification. When she tried to escape, when she was out of the house and she was trying to leave the cult, I noticed, because I was watching the video, and I noticed that she kept asking for her identification, and Nature Boy reluctantly gave it to her, right? So when she got it, I'm not even certain that she got it, because the camera wasn't close enough to see that she actually got the identification. One of the female cult members went outside to supposedly give her identification. So when Melina looked at it, pardon me, I think it's Melina or Melinda, but she looked at whatever it was that was handed to her, and she started to scream. She started to go off. She was very upset. And that was disturbing to see. That was unsettling to watch. So she was going off, and she proceeded to go up the street, right? And then I can hear Nature Boy instruct a couple of the female members to go after her. I can hear him say this, not in those exact words, but he clearly instructed two of, it might have been three of them, to go after Melinda. Okay, so Melinda was going up the street, even though she was clearly upset because she was screaming and hollering. I'm pretty certain the neighbors, there were a couple of neighbors that came out to see what was going on. Okay, and they were lied to. Some of the cult members were telling that neighbor is nothing to worry about. I think it was a male cult member that was heard telling the neighbor who was concerned that there was nothing to worry about, and that neighbor was very concerned, asking questions. As I think that was great that they were doing that. They just didn't take no for an answer when they were told, "Don't worry about it." And anyway, Melinda was clearly distraught. She didn't have. I don't think she got the identification that she wanted. I think something was given to her, but it wasn't what she wanted or needed. Because think about it, guys, when you're out there and you don't have the proper identification, you are susceptible to get caught up in other dangerous groups. You can get caught up on the street. You can end up on the street and lost in the sauce pretty much because you don't have the proper identification to help you to get from A to B to C, from point A to B to C. You are limited in your movements and how far you can go. And I think that was a strategy of Nature Boy to make sure that people who may want to get out, if they get any ideas to get out, and if they want to get back on their feet, he's going to make sure that he cripples them. Just think about that, guys. You're out there, you don't have the identification, you don't have the proper IDs. It's going to limit how you can move. It's going to limit you and what you can do. And again, I think that was a strategy, and it was disgusting. Again, that was very hard for me to watch. But anyway, guys, I want to go ahead and also talk about how some of the things that you see Nature Boy doing in these videos, which I think is very disturbing, and that he is repeating how great he is and how useless his members are. Just think about that for a second. He continues to repeat that. He's drilling that into their heads. But not only that, he has the attention of the audience. He's telling the audience, see how useless they are? In particular, the females. He really seems to go in on the females, even though he's treating the males like crap as well. But the females, again, he just seems to strike me as a person who is really downplaying the feminine principle. So as we're watching him do this, and I'm just speaking in general, right? Because some of you are not aware of carbonnation, but I think most of you are, right? You've heard something about Nature Boy. But when you look at these videos and you watch how he interacts with not only the cult members, right, but the audience that's watching him, is very fascinating. Not fascinating like good, but quite, I see a lot of red flags. It's the way, he loves the audience. He likes the attention. And to me, he comes off as a person who really believes that he is the greatest ever. Okay, and everybody is supposed to pay attention to him. The whole world is supposed to bow down to him. That's what type of vibes I'm getting from Nature Boy or Eligio Lee Bishop. Okay, that's the kind of vibes I'm getting. Now, I'm not saying that there are not things that perhaps he has said that may ring to be true or prove to be true, but still, you have to remember, some people who have run cults, they tend to have a dark triad personality. A dark personality, and they can be very seductive and charismatic. So they may mix the truth with some lies, and in other words, they feed you enough vinegar, okay, that make you feel uneasy, but they also feed you enough honey to keep you hooked, to keep you around. A lot of people who end up in cults, they have a prior history of abandonment, or misuse, and other unpleasant things within a group. Perhaps that group is their family. It may be other friends. It may be a work environment, what have you. The other thing that I noticed that a lot of these members, not all of them, but a lot of them tend to be on the younger side. Okay, which also I think plays into how influential he can be with his group. But I'm just glad a lot of people are coming out and they're talking about this. There are ex-members who are reporting things from, again, STD to mental, emotional, financial, physical misuse, confiscating the identifications, and that being a strategy to weaken them and limit how they move. And I'm glad about that, but I'm also upset that there was a particular cult member who is reported recently of returning to carbonnation. Okay, especially when I saw how distraught she was when she was trying to get out of there. I have done a few videos recently about thought reforms and cultic processes and dark triad and dark personality types that cult leaders tend to have. Because when you think about Jim Jones, you think about David Koresh, you think about who's another one, Charles Manson, and how they ran their groups. You see some similarities. You see Nature Boy having some of those similarities. Okay, I see a lot of red flags. I see some red flags, and I think this is something to really be cognizant of and to be aware of. And not only that, I think that we need to be asking some critical questions, such as what type of personality that Nature Boy has. What is it about him that's so seductive, that has him being able to attract a huge following? This is something else to think about too, guys. Now, right now, Nature Boy is locked up. He may or may not get out, right? But there may be some who have followed him and who are so influenced by him or his philosophy of life, they have adopted it and they're ready to be the next in command. That's just something to think about, okay? Because we cannot deny that Nature Boy has definitely been able to attract and to gain the attention he wanted. And he's still getting some attraction. He's still getting some attention. Okay, that's just something to think about, guys. But I'm going to leave you guys with that. And until next time, make sure you take care of yourself as well as each other.
Desire deep down of bringing down other people in a way that they feel brought down. And that leads to extremes.
According to Kilduff's research, people were working inhumane hours, often 7 days a week, on the temple's various programs. At the temple itself, members were forced to confess to fabricated crimes for which they would be given vicious beatings. Ex-members asserted even children were being abused in this way. According to their descriptions, Jones was a classic cult leader, using spirituality to exert power psychologically and sexually over his cult. Cults share certain defining characteristics. In a cult, leaders recruit members through deceptive techniques that rob them of their identity and individuality. Experts have termed these techniques thought reform.
Thought reform is a systematic effort which has two stages. One is the breakdown stage with heavy confession and a breakdown of one's own psychic integrity. And then there's the second stage, which is re-education, trying to remake a person into a new person.
The term brainwashing is a popular term describing what's classically called a thought reform program. And all those terms mean that a person or an organization has put into place a coordinated program of coercive influence and behavior control. See, the word cult refers to the relationship between the followers and the leader, in which the leader is all-powerful. And then the way the leaders, as we say in psychology, shape the behavior, make the person adopt the policies and attitudes, is done through a thought reform program. Merely puts into place ways to get you to put your old value system aside and make your decisions based on what you know the cult leader wants and will reward. But you're still making decisions, but you're making them in the context of what will keep you from getting in trouble and what will get you rewards within the cult. But brainwashing doesn't make a zombie.
Narcissistic parents run the dysfunctional family like a cult leader. Parents who have a narcissistic personality disorder or cluster B personality are consistently seeking source supply, which does not exclude his or her own children and other family members. Grooming children who are often seen by the narcissistic parent as a safe victim becomes very tempting and easy to do. Most parents with a cluster B personality see his or her children as property to be used as a lifelong source supply. The cluster B personality parent, having a strong sense of entitlement, plays a huge part in him or her proceeding to use their family as a source supply in order to maintain the false self-image. Very often, parents who either have a narcissistic personality disorder or they have a cluster B personality, what often happens is that they will groom their children either to develop a narcissistic personality disorder or a cluster B personality, or they're going to groom that child to become a person who grows up to behave codependently. Narcissists have a sixth sense about which child to choose to be a safe victim for their supply. So what the narcissist does is they break that child down more by molesting them, molesting them. Female narcissists usually have a very strange relationship with their sons while seemingly choosing to their daughters to scapegoat.
To you, the details of this story are graphic and they are disturbing. Today, we are learning that more charges are likely against the Grant County mother accused of raping her own children and a 2-week-old infant she was babysitting live on a webcam. Pamela Ortega told police she performed sex acts on these children.
This is the mother now charged with child rape of her own children, accused of performing sex acts on her 8-year-old daughter and 6-year-old son, as well as a 2-week-old infant.
This is male and female narcissists alike. This is why they use the sex as a weapon. They don't use sex as a means of celebrating a union with someone else. They don't, use sex as a means of having or to obtain intimacy with someone else. No, they do this. They use sex as a weapon, period, because their predatory senses are heightened during sexual intercourse. So you are definitely doing a dance with them. So when you enter that course, yes, you are definitely going through something on a spiritual, emotional, and even a psychic level. A person who has a predatory nature looks upon children as safe victims who do not have others around him or her which will intervene in them being preyed upon.
I think Jones by and large had a benign and positive image. I don't think most people knew him real well, but publicly, if you asked any political leader or social leader, they said, yeah, he's a good guy.
I didn't know that he was having sex with everybody. It's easy to see now, but you don't think that the leader is nuts.
So in the cases of a dysfunctional family headed by one who has a narcissistic personality disorder or who is a cluster B personality, often what is happening is that since the cluster B personality and or narcissist is always scoping for supply, they're always seeking to obtain supply, what better group to obtain supply than their own family? And other people look upon that family and have no idea the horrors that are going on behind closed doors.
Cults use denigration and ridicule and humiliation as a control mechanism in the following way. In the cult, it has become your new family. And your whole status in this new family depends on them liking you and treating you nice. And if the leader keeps making fun and showing that you're a dope and that you just are a bad person, then you're so humiliated all the time. And you're going to keep working, trying to get in his graces and try to get some praise from the other people, so that in a rather harmful way, it's used as a motivator. It's not a mental health-producing motivator. But within those tight, controlled confines, it's used to show the leader is so pure, so above it all, so powerful, and you are this lowly follower.
Are to carry the burdens, misfortunes, the ills, the consequences for all wickedness and poor choices of other family members within the dysfunctional families. Now, guys, I don't know about you, but I say that is a very tall order, and it is a very wicked and satanic order. That is a horrific thing, to say the least, to put upon any child. However, it is my opinion, folks, that this is one of the main reasons why a certain child is pinpointed to be scapegoated within a dysfunctional family. It is so they can carry all the burdens, everything that is unpleasant within the family. And I don't care if we're going back generations, that one child is to carry it all. Those who have a dark personality or a dark triad, such as Machiavellian, psychopathic, and narcissistic all rolled into one, can attempt to lead a group or following into ruin simply by grooming or priming them. Once a person has been primed or groomed to adopt a particular mindset or mentality by someone with a dark personality, it can then become a waste of time and energy to attempt to reason with him or her. There's a false narrative at play, and perhaps false narratives become a strong component of a script that has been given by them or given to them by a person who has not only a dark personality, but predatory aims. This script is not to be flipped or rewritten unless it is a convenience to the narcissistic personality or some other dark personality type. False narratives often reflect a perspective of his or her reality, yet lacks merit. Perhaps there are some narcissists who lead groups, develop an obsession, fixation, or a personal mission to get others to adopt or accept their false narratives. Cult leaders who have dark personality types will often refer to themselves not only in the third person, but as some world-famous personality, prominent figure, or world leader. There's a long history of cults and their members that often reflect thought reforms, programming, tactics, and other cultic processes that end up requiring what's called deprogramming by experts who specialize in assisting ex-cult members to regain a sense of life. Unfortunately, there are more components that consist of cults, which are safe victim, Svengali-like tactics combined with shape-shift tendencies, recruitment of those who play dysfunctional roles such as flying monkey, enabler, scapegoat, and bully, misuse of energy transferences, misuse of female-male relations, misuse of proactive or procreation of energies, if you know what I mean. All right, so there can be a misusage of male-female relations, misusage of energy transferences. There can also be a misusage of the procreation energy transferences. For example, there may be a tendency for the cult leader or a person with a dark personality to perceive women as girls and girls as women. Dark triad, dark personality types such as psychopathic and narcissistic, malignant traits like overt and covert are common. Dark triad, This personality right here often reflects that of a Machiavellian, psychopathic, and narcissistic all roll into one. Sometimes the dark triad is a person who has, sometimes the dark triad is reflected in a person who may be a cult leader. There are many who are susceptible to falling prey to cult leaders or groups who have dark personality types running it. Cult members often display signs of experiencing an identity crisis, while their cult leader attempts to gain at their expense by committing identity theft and perhaps engaging in various other crimes with a sleight of hand. Cult members are often primed or groomed to not only speak in code, but to perform various hand signs, gestures, and to function in formation, all while possessing a hive, herd, and cave mentality. Dark personality types such as narcissistic personality often will attempt to invoke a sense of shared doom, karma, or consequences for narcissistic behavior, criminal activity, immortality, or other dysfunctional behavior patterns, as if to imply that we're all in this together. Unfortunately, those who are emotionally invested in the group, the cause, or the narcissistic cult leader might feel a strong sense of obligation to protect the cause and the narcissist while undergoing a constant test of loyalty. Dark secrets are kept at all costs. Covert narcissism is the ultimate silent treatment for this reason alone. The imaginary contract that the cult leaders often have for their members are some of the most diabolical, unrealistic terms. Many don't know to inquire about the bottom line or the fine print of these imaginary contracts. Narcissistic personality will often be about the control, and they will avoid meaningful connections to others. Conflict between link and connection is often at play in narcissistic relationships and cults. Linking is a manipulative tactic used by narcissists, while connections are often proven to be missed opportunities to experience intimacy with others. Narcissistic personality who seduces with swag, thirst traps, and word salads are those with the darkest of personalities and often can play the priming game like a cold grandmaster chess champion. Never without their trick bag of abracadabra, it is best that one never underestimates just how far a narcissistic cult will prime others to achieve their objectives. By learning how to spot the signs of priming, grooming, and narcissism, it can be proven to become a real game changer.